All right, we're live. But yeah, I'm glad that Robert Sala is just kind of getting off of like the Zach Wilson, like, oh no, he's a starter no matter what, like that. I think of the press conference after he didn't commit to Zach Wilson finally and
Mhm.
said I think they're still figuring out who's gonna start at quarterback. Um the dude Boyle played like trash. And I think that Trevor Simeon is on the practice squad. So I do feel like if there's anybody who's gonna get a look, it may be him that gets that new look.
Mhm.
Um, but at least it'll give you some hope for Garrett Wilson because I mean, God, like that's just the
A
biggest
waste right
waste
now.
of the
Yes.
biggest waste of a talent. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
What it tells me is being that he was pretty decent even with Zach Wilson so far, it just justifies next year. Garrett Wilson's going to be very high on my pick
Yeah.
list just because he's kind of getting it done with absolute garbage, throwing him the ball or lack
Hmm.
thereof. But when he gets somebody of some relative competence, he should be very good. I think it might be a little bit different given that I saw a report that they anticipate pursuing Devontae Adams going into the summer of next year and whatnot. But,
Hmm.
that would change the flavor of their entire layout. But that's a good receiver. But right now, Zach Wilson, holy cow! There's no, I mean,
He's
just
trash.
yeah,
Like I mean, and it's like, but the thing is, this annoying is like I want to look up like their record. Like we were talking about it, and I'm sorry. Real quick intro. Hi, fantasy football post game. We're gonna talk about football stuff, and we're talking about football stuff now. My name's Toomey. Go by Fantasy Football Strategist on TikTok. This is Eric. He's as in TDs on
yes, sir.
TikTok. And yeah, so we're gonna just be talking about football stuff. We're talking about what happened in the games today. We're gonna be talking about our fantasy teams, bad beats, us just being like pissed off about different things. So that's kind of the feel of the show.
That's right.
Um, so with that being said, like the Jets are 4-6, lost three straight, and it's just kind of annoying to me that we had to get to this point for Robert Sala to investigate another quarterback. And it's just like everyone, the low hanging fruit is Josh Dobbs. He was clearly available when Minnesota traded for him. Honestly, there were even discussions like Ryan Tannehill's fully healthy. He's very unhappy in his situation. He is you've seen Tannehill literally do this thing when he went from Miami to Tennessee. Like he could actually
Exactly.
take a team with a good running game and a defense and like get them to a postseason. But they didn't make any moves at the deadline. And I truly feel in my heart the reason they haven't done anything to shore up the quarterback position is because they're trying to appease Aaron Rodgers and they're kind of trying to like babysit this man and his ego. And that is like that's super annoying. I'm not even like a Jets fan, but it's just like the talent you guys are wasting because you have to placate to his ego is sickening. It's just
Rogers
sickening to
say
me.
he doesn't want anybody in his way since he's coming back December. Next month.
But I mean, like he said he's coming back in December. One, I'll believe that when I see it from an
Yeah,
Achilles when you're like 40.
that would
And
be
then
impressive.
also like even if he comes back in December, it's gonna be at the end of December, bro. That's 6 weeks of games you got to figure out. And like y'all are 4-6, y'all have to win now, but y'all waited so long, going on a 3-game losing streak to do anything with Zach Wilson, knowing that he ain't it in games that you could win. Like it's just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, everyone knew this would be the likely outcome if they stayed with Zach Wilson because once everyone saw him do a full game, it's just saw the abomination that is what he was producing. I mean, it was the writing was on the wall. I think he was just trying to go ahead and probably maintain keeping the locker room by saying he's going to stick with the guys he has already, but that can only have so much runway. I mean, he's proven that he doesn't deserve that level of, you know, credence he given that opportunity anymore. He's wasting other people's time and the runway on their careers. So it is your job to best govern your team and do what you can do to go ahead and put them in a position to best win these games. And you knew you didn't have a guy who can go ahead and do that. Unless you had the 2001 Ravens defense, you
Yeah.
cannot go ahead and win a game with this man.
And
It
they
can't happen.
I remember the defense was talking like they were that defense. I mean, they're a good defense. Don't get
Yeah,
me wrong. They ain't that.
you
You
put
know what I mean? They
you
are
put a
not
lot of
that
pressure
type
on yourself
defense.
to be a team of goats to go ahead and support Zach Wilson. That just speaks to how badly he plays. You need multiple Hall of Famers on defense to carry this guy to go ahead and say, you know what, we can get there with this man. I
Yeah.
guarantee there isn't a Jet fan out there saying that.
Not
Not
at
even
all, man.
Salah anymore. Precisely.
And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. If I was a Jets fan, I'd be very annoyed by how they mismanaged the quarterback situation. And it's just, this is the thing though. I would be annoyed, but if you get Aaron Rodgers, you're getting the potential MVP. You're getting all like his Super Bowl victory, all that stuff. You're getting all the prestige, like all of that good stuff. But you're getting that baggage, and you're getting that ego. And
Mhm.
so having to manage that ego is part of the pie. And unfortunately, like this is what you have to invest in. Now, this is your team. What I like honestly, Aaron, like, bro, you're done. Like I don't know how like if you come back for the end of the season, cool. I don't know how productive you'll be, and especially like I would not be surprised. I'm not a doctor, but if you come back early from an injury like that, the risk of re-injury would seem just common sense. It seems like it'd be rather high to re-injure it, especially at that age. And if you
Mhm.
re-injured it at the end of the season, I mean, this year's done and next year's likely done. And so I would never be banking on a literal miracle healing situation like he's Wolverine with some adamantium to like have Aaron Rodgers come back and support this team into a playoff run. Like in this division, like nah, like not in this division, not in that conference. Like you're not gonna have mobility. I don't know, man. It's just
That's
I don't
why
know why I'm so frustrated.
when he
Like,
suggested it, it sounded so abstract. Like you hear him say December, you're like, oh, this guy, he's aiming for, I guess, December 24. He
yeah,
actually anticipates literally what is next month to come back from an injury that we all saw week 1 of this season.
yeah,
We are in week 11. It takes way more time than that for your Achilles tendon ligament to reheal. At least from the understanding of what I think happened to him, based on what they say.
hmm
Maybe they overestimated what happened to him,
yeah,
but coming back that soon and what you need your feet to do in a scrambling position as a quarterback, I don't think you'll be performance ready on a pro level that quickly. Like it's BS. Like when people speak
it is.
positivity, we do that a lot in this country. It's like, yo, keep some realism here. Keep that
Hmm.
realism there. Keep that realism energy at all times, because that's just unlikely. I mean, that's how you get people that they'll bet their mortgage. Aaron Rodgers coming back. Jets gonna win the Super Bowl. Somebody just lost tons of money thinking that you were gonna go ahead and come back, and you can't. You clearly won't be
Yeah.
able to do that. You gotta watch what we say.
And I mean that re-injury thing is a thing for me. It's like now that even saying is like I'd be surprised almost if he doesn't. Like you tore your Achilles in I mean September, bro. That's a month and a half. You know what I mean? Like it's not that long ago. And if you get on this field and you think you're good and like you find some doctor that says you're okay,
Mhm.
like I don't know, it would surprise me if he doesn't get hurt again. If it surprised me, like if he doesn't start having calf issues, then boom, pop again. And if you pop, I don't know, like that's to me, that's like, if you pop it twice, wouldn't be surprised if your career is ended. You know what I mean? Like that just
At
seems like
that
that's getting
age,
dicey. Yeah,
at that age for sure. But speaking of scrambling, we got live here. That boy Josh Dobbs just ran
I
for
saw,
another touchdown.
I saw it, I saw it. So up
But
17-9.
that's the beauty of youth, like you keep alluding to. Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers is not a young spring chicken anymore. I'm like,
Nah, bro.
how
How
are you
old is
going to
he?
go ahead and come back from some kind of new procedure from a torn Achilles when in the 90s that was a career ender? Now,
Hmm.
as a advanced professional in football, considering your age, you gonna come back early in the same season where you tore it? It's unlikely. It's just I don't see
It don't
even the
make no
people who have
sense.
invested in you allowing you to take that risk. Just like you said, a re-injury is almost a guarantee that all right, we lost this Aaron Rodgers that we pretty much baked everything on.
Yeah. And I think like it's just you're in such a bad situation because it's a 2-year deal. I don't know how it's structured. I'm sure they can get out of it if they wanted to. But like I'm just always thinking like if my team is not going for it, I need to be in position to get a future situation. And the
Yes.
Jets are unfortunately too good to get one of the top guys in this coming draft. They're 4-6. They're trying to continue to win games, and they
Mhm.
got Aaron Rodgers there, so they can't openly say that. So they got to try to win games, but then it's one of those things. It's like you got to like you pick one, bro. Like You're going to try to win games now. And if you're trying to do that, y'all should have been benched Zach Wilson and just tried just something else. But
I
if you're
agree.
not trying to win, just like just go get one of them. Go get Caleb. We'll just play Zach Wilson for the rest of the season. You know?
I agree because from my perspective, full transparency, I don't even think I saw Zach Wilson play in college. But I don't think that matters because I did see him play professionally, poorly. What is it that Zach Wilson has displayed that ever says, yo, once he puts it together, when he does X, Y, and Z, it's crazy. It's over. I don't know what that is. What are you waiting for, Robert? What does he have in the tank that's going to be like, look, when you go ahead and let him put this on the field and put his best body of work together, you're going to be blown away. What is Zach Wilson's best body of work to be blown away by? We ain't missing out on nothing, man.
The thing that like the best thing in his corner is the fact that he's almost like he's like a reservation place card at the table for Aaron Rodgers. He's just a placeholder. And Aaron Rodgers, I truly think it's just all. I honestly am believing in this conspiracy that truly, like Robert Saleh is not an idiot. Zach Wilson sucks. Everyone sees Zach Wilson sucks, and the thing he's had to come out so adamantly in these press conferences defending Zach Wilson. And I get it, it's your quarterback. You're not going to kill him, but
True.
like anybody's like, if you're not performing, like, hey, we got to make sure we're getting the best out of our quarterback position, and we're going to investigate. Like, he's not a guaranteed starter the second you end the game, which he has been prior to today. Like, he's like, no, he's going to be our starting quarterback next week. The only reason I can see is for Aaron Rodgers, bro. That's it. The only reason I can see is the ego of Aaron Rodgers. And if they brought in like a real solution, whatever real solution they've likely brought in, that's a real one. If they traded for one, they would be starting over a fucking Frankenstein Achilles Aaron Rodgers in December. Like if they had gone and gotten Josh Dobbs, you know what I mean? Josh Dobbs would be starting over whatever the hell Aaron Rodgers. Go sit down, bro. You're on season-ending IR now. Like you're done. We're gonna rock with Dobbs, and then we'll see what happens in the future. Because honestly, if Dobbs took him in the playoffs and they won a game, guess who's the quarterback next year? It's not gonna be Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. And like you said, it's not like a super long-term deal for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was to win now.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, you might have a whole nother year. Given that Zach Wilson is as putrid as he is, following the guidance that you gave him with Aaron Rodgers after he had the reins to go ahead and run the team down into the dirt last year, you expect as a professional quarterback that you've put something together where you actually have a better body of work to go ahead and put it on the field and let these guys run them to victory. You can't do that. You have Breece Hall wasting him. He's taking hits that he doesn't really have to take because you don't open up any lanes because you can't pass the ball. You're not competent in that arena. You are hurting your team. I think watching the actual game, they said they had a team meeting was held by the team. Who was it? The captains was Tyler Conklin and Wilson. They didn't even get a catch until later in the game. So it's like the synergy on that team, just from what you can hear, it just doesn't seem like it's allocated appropriately. Like it's just off. And from my perspective, after my position when I play football, it's kind of your role as the quarterback to recognize that and put the vibe right. You got to put the energy in a way to best make sure that we can go ahead and come out with a victory. I don't see that with him and Zach Wilson. Even when you go back to that meme when they're all doing their rookie thing, he's taking a picture and the guy's putting up the gang signs and stuff. He backs off like that. That doesn't convey that you're a leader of your atmosphere and you want to take control. I mean, it's just things of that nature, and you can see it on the field. You look like a guy that don't control your atmosphere when you play quarterback the way that you do.
No. You make especially the atmosphere of winning worse.
Yeah. And I think that's why everybody rags on Zach Wilson. They're like, look, man, we get on him because he obviously not an asset.
Yep. He's definitely not an asset.
Yeah, that's what people are doing. But now they're like, well, see, you can't blame him. Other guys dropped the ball. True. But they might have dropped that ball if it came from somebody competent.
That's facts. That's facts. Let's try to move on to something real quick. Cool. So week 11, ton of injuries. I'm going to highlight some of them, and then we can just talk about a few. So Tyreek Hill had an injury, but he came back in the game. Achane went out super early, and that pissed off a lot of people, including myself. Hope he's okay. obviously, but that wasn't great for everyone who
Squeeze that
started
in there.
him or recommended starting him. And then you informed me that Ahmed he went out the game later, so it was Mostert kind of carrying the workload there.
Yeah.
Um, Aaron Jones went out with a knee, which didn't look great. And then I think Wilson, who's one of the backups, he also went out with he like popped his shoulder out of his socket. So it was basically 100% Aaron, what's it called AJ Dillon at that point. Bosa, defensive player, but so Joey Bosa went out and it just sucked. Like you could tell the second he went out, he was like sobbing on the cart. Like clearly
Yeah.
something went off.
Those are some of the worst sights that I hate to see a grown man cry because I'm like, that's got
Yeah,
to be a deep pain. And I don't even like to witness that, you know?
because like you could tell it's just like uncontrollable, like the sobbing shoulder, all that. I was like, man, like
Yeah.
I mean, you just see like so
When
that
you're
sucks.
impacted by something and completely helpless, one of the
Yeah.
worst of feelings.
hmm Cooper Kupp again, man. This ankle. So we got
Yeah,
Kupp with the ankle. So that's
unfortunately.
going to be something we got to deal with in fantasy. Kenneth Walker, he went out early. I do think that's going to lead to one of the bigger waiver wire pickups this week in Charbonnett.
Oh, yes.
Um, next one also will be a big waiver wire pickup. So like Foreman, he went out. His leg looked kind of jacked up, so I'm not sure what the injury was. But Rashawn Johnson came in, so I do think he's going to be a big pickup too.
I did.
Geno went out. What's up?
I was like, I did see him getting a lot of work. Okay, that actually
Mm-hmm.
completes the puzzle for me in that regard about that
Oh yeah,
backfield, what I saw.
because like he went out, and then Rashawn Johnson got in a decent amount of playing time. Geno went out and came in later. I think he had
Mm,
like an elbow injury. And
true.
then just a real quick recap from like the week before, like the Thursday night recap. Sean Watson obviously out for the season. Burrow's now out for the season. That happened during the game ish. And then Andrews also out for the season from that Thursday night football game.
Yeah,
Bloody week. So what do you want to
very.
talk about?
Just the number of quarterbacks that have been impacted. When you think about the amount of
Yeah.
money spent on Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Richardson, the hype
Mm-hmm.
that was sold on, literally this season, it is ridiculous. Like, this is very impactful overall to the product that is the football league. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to prepare for future Sunday night bouts where the quarterback's going in. One of them is Dobbs. You see how great that team was performing when Cousins was the leader of it. It's just very unfortunate to go ahead and witness this. And I think going forward, you might see teams maintain some kind of approach where you see what the Saints are doing by having like a 2-team approach with those quarterbacks. That might gain some kind of traction as teams are trying to not allow this to destroy their season. Because I mean, like Jets were a Super Bowl potential team. They know they're not going there now. And the impact of the loss of a quarterback across so many teams, this frequency of it happening, I think we just have to give that a lot more credence as to this might be something that's probably a larger part of the game than we can anticipate.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it should, but the thing that sucks is like I think teams can have as many contingency plans as they can. But if you think about like the amount of starting quarterbacks, you need 32.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably 20 who are like legit, like you'd say, all right, we got a starter here.
Yeah,
To have
franchise.
multiple, like you know what I mean? Like each team's supposed to have 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Like I mean, what are we talking about now? We're talking about like 64 plus quarterbacks that have to be like solid enough to come into a game and move a team down the field. It's tough. It's literally that's why they get paid so much. I mean, they're the most
Oh yeah,
important
that makes
position in
sense too.
sports, the most responsible, but also just the hardest to find that skill set. That's why, honestly, I mean, that's why this Josh Dobbs thing is really actually amazing. Like, you do not find quarterbacks who just step in and not even play well, but play at like a pretty high level. He's not perfect. I've talked about his like accuracy issues like a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
he does what you need him to do to move your team. He has the buy-in of his team wherever he's been. And they
And he
just said
like
he
to
had
run.
like 7 stops or so, or maybe 9 career stops so far. Like he's like that type of person is like a unicorn. You don't find those. Like there's a ton of other backups. I know Devito did well today, but no one's believing in him like that. Like there's a ton of
Mm-hmm.
backups who don't do anything, and it's an impossible position, man. It really is. Oh,
What
there we
if
go. There you
I
go.
know that they
You'll
were
see, you'll
saying
see
that?
this. You'll see this in a second.
Oh, I'm assuming he threw a pick, a pastor
Nah,
not pick.
nah, he didn't do that. He's not the one who did something.
Oh,
It was a drop ball in the form of a fumble.
Oh,
Yeah.
unfortunately, maybe for my player,
No, who's your player?
Addison.
No, not for him.
Oh, okay.
It's the dude who fumbles all the time on their team. Guess who?
Oh, Madison.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm playing against Madison right now. That's
Yeah, you
cool.
lost
Do
to
your
him.
thing, Madison. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna be mad. Hey, be who you are.
Be you, do you. But
Yeah.
yeah, like so some of these injuries. So let's talk about Achane. Let's just talk about that one. I don't
Mhm.
know exactly what happened, but man, it's just starting to like that's one of those players where I don't want to say, oh, I'm not buying into him anymore. If he's on the field, I'm starting Devin Achane.
True.
But he's super small, bro. Like
They
that
did
is
talk
that
about that.
you know, like you could be so amazing. You have to be on the field. That availability is literally the best skill you can have. And
Agreed.
he went out early in the first quarter. Like he barely did anything in the game before he went out with a knee injury. Like I
I
don't know.
noticed
Like
that.
it's just one of those things. It's hard to buy into somebody like that.
It's funny because prior to the game getting started, maybe like a day or so beforehand, in our league, I tried to acquire Mr. Achan or
Mhm.
Achane, but I wasn't lucky enough to do so, obviously. But even afterwards, I was saying to myself, my goodness, he just came off of IR. And when he got hit, you can always tell how they get up a little gingerly. I thought he was maybe going to walk it off, run it off, and he never came back from that. So even Mostert had the same kind of tag on him as far as someone who will get dinged up very easily.
Mhm.
But man, you're literally seeing it live right now with Achan in his rookie season. So of
Yeah.
course, when you're a rookie, I always write it off. You don't know what to anticipate in the pros. These guys are big, quick, fast, strong. So he is getting knocked out the box, literally.
Yeah.
Maybe coming into next season, they do things where they anticipate how to practice, getting hit and things of that nature. Pause. Now to actually prepare for the football season going
Yo,
forward.
bro, stop chill out with that already. Oh my god. He made me hit my head on his You already on that. Oh my god, this
Just
thing
had to make sure I cover myself. People out here quick.
getting hit. Oh, he's not the mic over. Yeah, Lee, hold on. No, that probably sounds terrible. Wow. All right. So
That's funny.
I'm trying to see like if I could find like is there any news on him yet? From his knee. McDaniel positive feedback on Achan's status. Achan's knee was landed on during the team's Week 11 game against the Raiders. Achan was trying to return, but McDaniel kept him out to exercise caution due to it being the same knee he hurt earlier in the season. His practice status this week will indicate the health of the semi-short week leading up. They have a Friday game. Oh yeah, because it's
Oh
they're doing
yeah,
the
the
Black
Black
Friday bet.
Friday game.
Okay, against the Jets.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad. That's one. At the end of the day, I'm still if I have him on my team, I'm still gonna start him.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just re-injuring the same knee is concerning. It's gonna definitely just lower him down my rankings a little bit.
It's definitely a concern now because when you really look into it, as a player on the Jets now, if I'm on defense, I know he got a sore knee. He's known to be really fast. I don't want to be unethical, but
You chopping?
oh yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
chop at that
I'm
leg
gonna
real quick,
beat the
bro.
hell out your knee. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, don't come around here if you care about your knee.
Jesus. Oh, so HN, I mean, that's going to be a big. We got to really keep an eye on that one. That's going to be a big deal, and it seems like Moster's going to probably have some value a little bit. Until then,
Yeah, this is
uh,
his season.
it
Mostert
really
is
is.
doing. He is getting
Knock
work
on wood,
done.
he just got to stay healthy, bro. Yeah. Aaron Jones, man, this guy. This man, I mean,
Mm.
he's just kind of like I mean, he's not 29, he's 28, but like age 28, late age 28, but really more age 29 is when you see the running backs really fall off a cliff just
Hmm.
because the injuries start piling up. And he's just like, maybe he's just at that point where he's falling off now. Like from an injury standpoint, his play is clearly still there, but he just cannot stay healthy. Like he just can't.
I think it's because the teams know that's all the Packers have. Like when you
Hmm.
see Jones come in there and you're on another team, you tee off on Jones because it's like, all right, if we can just go ahead and knock him off his game. I'm not saying hurt him, but as they used to say when we used to play, get gator arms going across the middle because somebody knocked you out the box to play before. You go ahead and start playing jittery. You half stepping out there as opposed to walking with confidence. You just want to go ahead and knock a player off their game. A player like that, he could possibly find himself in that situation fairly often.
Like it's just, I mean, and like now, so I mean, AJ Dillon, I think he played okay, but the thing that AJ Dillon has just not been
Yeah, he's not Jones.
And when Aaron Jones is off the field, the thing that sucks is like if you had like a solid handcuff like that, you would hope that all right, so if Aaron Jones is out, this guy's giving me 15 plus points easy. Dillon's not doing that. Dillon, I mean, the best games I think Dillon has had was when Aaron Jones has been on the field. When Aaron Jones was off the field, he was god awful. And so it's just not even like a super appetizing situation that I'm really super even like interested in. But AJ Dillon's like picked up in most leagues anyway, though.
Yeah, AJ Dillon is like you would think he would run like a power running back, but he doesn't do that well.
Yeah.
So
he's slow, kind of slow footed.
Yeah, it's like, how are you a running back? If you're a casual fan, that's probably a question that will cross your mind when you watch AJ Dillon run, especially following a run possibly by Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah, I mean comparing them is like it is literally thunder and lightning in the worst.
Yeah, your casual fan will be like, that's an interesting pairing there. Okay.
One doesn't look like the other.
Precisely.
Like speed wise. All right, this Cooper Kupp boy.
I mean,
this season, it's just I don't know if the season is just like a lost season for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Even coming into this season when he was hurt like that, you were lucky and happy to see that he came back relatively soon and was productive given how successful Puka Nacua has been. But with Cooper Kupp, I mean, I'm not even going to say his MO that he's been hurt. However, it's not like he's incapable of being injured. He's kind of like Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen was pretty much banged up today, but he fought through it and actually had a pretty productive day. Very similar comparison. But you do know he comes with an asterisk, to it. He comes, an insurance policy player, if you will. This person does.
You can call him injury prone. You could call him injury prone.
Yeah,
like he's injury prone.
But if he's playing through like an AC sprain or something right now with his shoulder, and Cooper Kupp is willing to do that as well. But it's just that a highly used player like Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen, as they are targeted very often, I mean, probability is on the side of they're going to be dinged up more often than not. That's good and bad because their talent justifies getting the ball so much. But over time, like you said, you have some time in this game, it's going to start showing some injuries.
Yeah, and I think like at least for Keenan, at least it's not a lower body injury situation for him, as opposed to Cooper Kupp. I mean, his ankle was taped up like crazy. Like I just don't think like he's just not healthy. And apparently he just like jacked his ankle up. And so I mean, I do think that's going to be a big boost for Puka, like we saw today. I think the targets are going to be there for Puka, and he's obviously talented enough to capitalize on that. As Matt Stafford's like go-to guy. But it sucks for like the Cooper Kupp people who like bought into him.
I also think Kyren Williams might be coming back on the next Rams game because they were hyping him up. So the way he was running, if he returns back to form, the Puka and Kyren Williams, even before Cooper Kupp was there before, those owners or managers rather will be very happy to go ahead and see that. Very happy.
Oh wow! So we got a trade question. I'm gonna put it into the screen. Okay.
All right.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Trade Chase and Waddle for Keenan Allen. Technically, that's not honestly as terrible as it kind of feels. It is very rich, though. It's very rich. I think selling too low on Chase could be something that we regret for a couple different reasons. One, he is dominating dominating target share. He is like 30+% target share on that team, even when Higgins is on the field. And even like I do expect a backup quarterback. The one thing that you usually see from backup quarterbacks is them hyper targeting like the number one dude.
Agreed.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if like Brownlee starts doing that, or Browning or whatever his name is starts doing that. Waddle, it's just he can go off at any time, but I'm not super tied to like him being like a top like 7 guy like I thought maybe preseason. And so honestly, like the trade is not bad, honestly. Its face, it's not bad at all. The thing that does worry me, and maybe this is irrational, is like we were just talking about. Keenan Allen, I mean, he was been injury prone his career. He's had a lot of injury issues. It's a tough time to be buying into these older players who are already kind of dinged up, if you know what I mean. Now, it said, all right, so he said my other wide receivers, though, are Amon-Ra, AJ, Tank, Sutton, Addison. My RBs are ETN, Kamara, JT. So, I mean, you're clearly very strong at receiver, and I appreciate the consolidation. The one thing I honestly would probably try to focus on more than my wide receiver is my like running back situation. For real, for real.
Yeah.
Like I like JT, I like Kamara. ETN, I like ETN, but I do think we're kind of into this we're into a situation where you're gonna start to see a lot of touchdown regression like we've seen the last 2 weeks. Like he was on a crazy high touchdown pace before, and that has come to a screeching halt. And I expected that because I expected the passing game to not be as putrid as it's been the last few weeks, and we finally saw that today. So not saying sell ETN at a low price right now. I try to do my best to sell him at some point, but for me, like I think it's rather rich. I don't mind the trade, but I personally just think it's a little rich. I'm sorry, I rambled a long time. Eric, what do you think?
It does seem rich because of Waddle. Chase, you would never consider this because Chase's talent level. He's like, I think anyone would argue one of the top 5 wide receivers in the league. Like he's always open. He's 7'11". Even this new rookie will probably be able to get the ball to him, but it's just not going to be with the efficiency and frequency that Burrow can do it. Waddle, nothing's changed about Waddle's circumstance except that he's not getting the amount of targets to get the opportunities and those boom plays that we all anticipate. So like you're saying, Waddle is such an X factor because he did have a good week where he put up like 20 plus points, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And you do know that Tyreek Hill got banged up just this week. So I can see that some of the near interceptions that Tua has been throwing, because I have Tua myself, have been when he's been targeting Waddle. So I do think that once they clean that up, Waddle, this was his first week claiming to be healthy coming off their bye week. They will get their timing right, and Waddle should be a little bit more productive. Keenan Allen, though, I do understand why they're interested into this trade, and maybe their team justifies being able to pull the trigger on it because they're so rich in wide receiver. Because over there in the Chargers, what was it, Guyton? I think he's down. Palmer's down. Quentin Johnston, he's a rookie. Yeah,
major drop like in the end of the game.
Yeah, they have Ekeler, and if they're not leaning on Ekeler, Keenan Allen is the only person they can get to, and they're very comfortable giving him 15 plus targets a game. That's a guaranteed. So it is a bit rich, but you can afford it. So
would you do it?
Would I do it considering the wide receivers that they have? I can't see it again, but you said they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God.
Yeah, so they got Amon-Ra, AJ, Tank Dell, Cam Sutton, Addison. Yeah, so you at least can absorb that risk because of the receivers you have. I do think that they should try. I would definitely try to figure out a way to upgrade my running back too. Like if there's a way you can get like a Jahmyr Gibbs on this team, I think that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, but this wide receiver core is insane. Like who'd you draft against?
Insane. It's like it's
me, myself, and I.
The only thing I'll think is like either it's a 4-team league or it's like those guillotine leagues. Have you heard of those?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's like let's say there's 10 teams that start out, and every week like somebody gets eliminated based on the points scored. So at the end, it is only like a couple teams, but every time a team is eliminated, all of their players are thrown back into free agency. And it's like a normal fab process. So yeah, so like let's say the team got eliminated had Pat Mahomes, Kelsey. Those guys are just free agents now. You got to put in fab bids to get them. And so there's a lot of people playing in those because there's like, I mean, clearly it sounds kind of fun. I've not done one yet, but I've got a lot of questions that sound nuts like this, or they'll just be in like DFS matchups and stuff like that, you know?
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. But that dude left, like he left halfway through our discussion anyway.
Oh, okay. That was that's the richest and wide receiver I may have ever seen. I was like,
this is nuts.
Incredible. AJ Brown, Tank Dell, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have Chase and Waddle. What?
Yep. Yeah, because it's like you can't even get to it from a rounds of the draft standpoint. Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like
like.
that doesn't make sense.
How does that
Three of those guys are in the same
happen?
round. Yeah.
Exactly. Unbelievable team.
But let's talk about these two rookie running backs real quick. So Kenneth Walker, I don't know the severity of his injury, but it didn't look great. He was
Oh,
running the ball
oblique.
and then he went down. Yeah, the oblique.
Yep.
He started just like kind of grabbing at that area. And then Foreman's injury, I don't know if he had a leg break. It almost the way that his leg looked, it almost looked like his leg was kind of going a slightly different direction. So I actually feel like that seems like almost like a rather significant injury.
Oh.
I haven't looked up anything, so I got to research that a little more. But
Mhm.
that being said, Charbonnett, rookie running back on the Seahawks, drafted in the second round. Rashawn Johnson, I don't know when he was drafted, but he's a rookie on that team, kind of like a pass catching back.
Mhm.
But he's big too. He was like the backup to Bijan when they were in school.
Oh yeah, I recall that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think trying to the snap share for the Bears. Yeah, so he got after the Foreman injury, Herbert got 58% of the snaps. Rashawn Johnson got 42% of the snaps, but he got 6 of 7 on third down. And I don't
Okay.
know if we got Charbonnet's yet. I'm going off of again the guy Dave Richard on FF Fantasy Football Today to see if he has the late games done yet. Nope. Oh yeah, he
Chicago's
does.
probably defaulting to how they started the year then, given that
Yeah,
that's what they did when they were opening the season.
with Rashawn Johnson for Herbert, and then they had like what's his name Foreman inactive actually.
Yep.
Um, and then the Seahawks. So after the Kenneth Walker injury, 92% of snaps to Charbonnet. Um, 9 of 12 on third down, 2 of 2 inside the 10. Like so, the high value touches. To me, I think it's like crystal clear as day. The number one priority, if all things stayed equal, no other injuries like that, would be Charbonnet. Like
Oh
no
yeah.
question. Yeah.
Agreed. The
Okay.
Seahawks running back, a
Hmm.
very coveted position in fantasy football. Everybody
Yep.
knows that.
Hard nosed runner. The thing with him is like Kenneth Walker, and this was honestly was my concern with Kenneth Walker going into the season was how good Charbonnet was. Like they honestly, I mean, they drafted him literally around the same position in the second round that they drafted Kenneth Walker the year before. And the
Hmm.
way that Kenneth Walker profiles, he was really like feast or famine. So he'll give you like 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yards, and 40, or like -1 yard, 2 yards, 20-yard run. Like just really feast or famine. Where a person like Charbonnet, 3.5, 4, 5.5, 3, 4. Like he's moving you. He's moving the chains. He's not like trying to do too much. Like he's not gonna have a 30-yard run likely, but he's gonna get you like he'll give you 20 carries for 89 yards and like a touchdown or two type of game. But
Agreed.
yeah, and he could also catch the ball too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like he runs pissed off. He has
Very.
that Pacheco angry run to him, and that's like very Seahawks like. But as you
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, Kenneth Walker, his appeal is that home run factor. He can go ahead and like do nothing for multiple drives in a row and get you like an 80-yard touchdown guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
But dinged up a little bit, you don't know how much that's impacted by a potential oblique injury, even if he is brought back a little bit too soon. But the way
I feel
Charbonnet
like he
runs,
had that before too. Like, right? Didn't he have an oblique issue or no? Oh no, it
I
was a
don't.
groin. It was a groin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know the particular injury he had, but I do know he had a particular hurt or so, if you will, earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But the way Charbonnet runs, just the eye test alone, he runs with some ferociousness to it. So that's
Yeah.
always something you want in football because it screams that I'm not afraid to get hurt and I don't get hurt. You want this pain, I bring
You
it.
just like this is personal motto. You want this pain, I bring it.
That was off the dome. It was just
I know
that's
this
what the
is a
run style
bar.
speaks to me.
He's I mean he's like you said, big bruising back really does fit the style of
Yeah.
Seattle running backs, but very soft hands. That's the thing. That was always the thing that always stuck out to me, and that was my biggest concern for Kenneth Walker because Kenneth Walker is not. He hasn't been the best pass catcher in his career, even when he was at Michigan State or Wake Forest. Like, but Charbonnet, very natural out of the backfield catching the ball. And the fact that he got 9 of 12 third downs, especially when they really seemed to like DJ Dallas in that role, and DJ Dallas only got 11% of the snaps.
Oh.
That to me is the thing that says like this is a true, and you're not going to get this type of option. So I do think this is one of those situations where if he is available on waivers, this may be one of the like you may have to send out a lot of your fab on this because this is a true bell cow. Regardless of a lot of the other running backs getting injured, there may not be that many bell cows left. Like if Zach Charbonnett is starting, he clearly, he got 92% of the snaps when Walker was off the field. He's getting the goal line work. He's getting the third down work, and he does that well. And he's going to continue to move the chains down the field. He honestly is probably going to be their best shot at winning games. And not a great matchup coming up. You got to play San Francisco on Thanksgiving.
Ooh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, if he's getting the carries, he could at least like try his best to keep that game at like a really, really dull, like really slow pace, grinded out game. If you just give him the rock like 25 times and let's let him go to work.
That
And
is
he's
his
also
style.
it's like a I don't know if it's a homecoming. I don't know who's at home or not, but he went to UCLA, so maybe he'll enjoy that.
Oh, yeah. And I think those kinds of emotional advantages do work in your favor. Like what's something? It's something I do that's pretty silly. Like if a player recently had a baby, I always try to make sure I play them because they always try to give them a touchdown to give them like that little. Yeah, exactly. They want to give him the rock to me. I was like, no, he had a baby. I'm gonna get on there. Put him in the lineup. Put him in the lineup. Put him in the lineup. You about to get a baby touchdown.
That's a good point. This is a random topic. I buy into narrative strong. You know, like
I have
the stats and stuff. Go ahead.
Bought to years ago. I didn't even know this, but I forgot the man's name. He played for the Baltimore Ravens. Troy Smith. And unfortunately, I think it was the night his brother had died, and I was playing you. And you knew this. And you were like, he's going to play with a level of motivation that you can't just conjure up. And I think this man put up like 200 plus yards. Yeah, I was like,
you went crazy.
I mean, I just had to remind myself to not curse. It literally pissed me off that much. I was like, yo, what kind of – that's when, I was finally becoming – I said, okay, it's levels to this. You taught me that there's levels to this. And I said, oh, well, yeah, it is.
Because I remember, like, that's the thing. I feel like I remember having a conversation with you about it. I was like, man, I feel terrible because obviously this man's brother just died. But I guarantee you, in respect to his brother for sure, obviously we know a ton about loss recently, but like I guarantee you he will go nutty. Because it's just like everyone in the entire world is going to try to get him the ball, and at the very least they want to get him a touchdown. So it's like we understand that narrative, like put him in the game. And it's the same thing, like it's not the same thing at all, but like revenge games, I believe in that. And I think there was like an interview recently done with like Mark Andrews where he's like, yeah, players like we do care about that. Like we very much care about that.
Like if you put yourself in their shoes, even in basketball, that's why I like it when they interview a player and they just put the passion when they curse. You want that. Don't get intimidated or something like that. It's like you need that kind of edge to do your best on the field. You ain't gonna sit there and sing kumbaya with somebody who just knocked out the box. It just don't go like that. So I like that they put their real, intimate, how they feel right there out there. You want that.
Yeah. That's that's what you said. That's part of the human experience. Like even today, like I was honestly super surprised until the end of the game that David Montgomery hadn't scored yet. I was like, you want to talk about somebody who wants to really score on the Chicago Bears? David Montgomery wants to score today on the Chicago Bears. And I had that in like so many touchdown parlays. I was like, man, honestly, I was like, he may score 2 or 3 times today. And he hadn't scored yet. And then they gave Gibbs that goal line carry. I was like, damn, what's up? But then at the end of the game, he still got in there. He actually had a pretty good day.
I'm going up against him, and it's like I knew it. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I got to spot him a touchdown. I know they're going to give him a touchdown. It's like a baby game for him. A revenge game, the first one? Oh.
Yep.
Oh, too sweet. I got to go ahead and get that. Too sweet.
It's not even like in Soldier Field. You're at home, comfortable on the fast track. Like,
yeah, that's when you're in the locker room like, look, I don't really talk that much, but hey, on everything, we going to get that today. We doing that today. It's going to happen today.
They'll give him like honorary captain or something like that. All that stuff.
Precisely. I'm not to myself today. We busting ass today. We knocking heads. I do not bang with these people.
Wow.
That's why I
We
love football
busted
for that.
ass. Yeah, I mean that's part of the game. Like it's
Precisely.
the game is the emotion, the game is the passion, and this is honestly one of the only sports you can take all that passion and anger and legally smack somebody in the face.
Yeah, it
You know what I mean?
reminds me of
Like
what was that boxer that said that it's the only sport where I can go ahead and kill somebody, something like that. The boxer, he said that. I was like, yeah, that is true.
that's facts. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, damn, that's when it reminds you it ain't no laughing games. That's why I'll take the cubicle work yet again.
I'm not built for that at all.
Yeah, I'm
Not
not.
at all, bro.
What a cubicle work at.
All right, so yeah, and so I mean, we talked about that. Like I know they were calling them the what's it called, like the rhythm and bruise or
Yeah, they did.
whatever.
I heard that.
But like the thing that's interesting about that, so like the Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery situation, um, I mean, I know that Montgomery ended it with a good day. It does seem clear that Jahmyr Gibbs is the number one now. Like it seems like this is his backfield, even though he didn't outgain him on the ground. And I think they started giving Montgomery work late. They're
Mhm.
not. They're almost. It almost seemed like they're doing more of like alternating series versus we're getting within the 10 and the 20. So David Montgomery's coming in the game. Like it seems like if Gibbs is on the field and he's at goal line, they feel perfectly comfortable giving him goal line carries. Like he had another goal line touchdown again today.
I can agree with that sentiment because what you
Mm,
said previously, that definitely seemed to be how they approached it because the number of touches that David was getting compared to him was he dwarfed him.
mhm.
And the circumstances for which he was put into the game and where he was leaned on to run were those chain moving, just keep the clock running, somebody we can depend on to not lose the ball kind of opportunity runs. And Gibbs is getting those opportunities now and scoring with them and doing very well. So, like
Yeah,
they said, even during the telecast, he's just hyper efficient. So, I don't
yeah.
think you could be anything better when playing football. And they say that about you. You're going to get the rock.
That's the thing. It's like today he didn't have, yeah, he got 8 carries for 36 yards, so like 4 yards a carry. Nothing crazy for Jahmyr Gibbs. The thing is, like, this is another thing, and I don't want to say, oh, I'm right about this, but I was right about this. Chicago's run defense is not like they've been very tough the last few
Mm.
weeks. Like they've been hellaciously tough over the last few. So yeah, I mean he got his touchdown, but the thing that like they've been tough against running backs on the ground, they've been completely god awful defending pass catching running backs. And like they've been giving up basically like 62 plus yards receiving a game to running backs. I think Gibbs he got 59 59 receiving yards. Like they're just giving up so much air work to running back. So that's how they're still technically like a bad defense and from like a running back standpoint, but it's not because of what they do on the ground. On the ground, they've been crushing it, like really killing it.
Is it the addition of Montez Sweat from the Redskins? You think he's probably helped turn the corner for them a little bit?
That's, I mean, that he helps. I think they've actually started turning around slightly before that trade happened. I
Okay.
think the biggest one it seems I think they gave him an extension, but Andrew Billings, he's like the nose tackle in the middle.
Oh, okay.
He's like a short squat dude from Baylor. Like he's a vet, like he's kind of been not a journeyman, but he's been on a couple teams.
Mhm.
Um, it seems like he's been one of the biggest reasons. They also their middle linebacker situation is like significantly improved. They got Tremaine Edmonds. They got Edwards from Philly last year. Like they did some investing into their defense.
Gotcha.
Like I mean they were really god awful before, but they've really turned it around.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
Bears.
So Chandler just did something. Was that a return?
Oh,
Oh, it was a
17-15.
yeah. It's getting tight, man.
You're seeing this boy Dobbs doing his thing. I gotta say, maybe Dobbs, his intellect is coming into play because he's so intelligent.
Hmm.
The quarterback is so responsible for knowing what everyone has to do. His capacity to probably absorb multiple playbooks and probably apply that on the field, you just can't underestimate.
Yeah,
Maybe that's something that people haven't really critiqued that well about Dobbs, and he should get more chances than what his maybe, let's say, scoutable talent justifies.
yeah. Like this, like his ability almost academically to just absorb the. I mean, the thing is though, there's a ton of brilliant quarterbacks, but they have to be able to translate that.
I think I
You
saw the
know,
play you were talking about, that fake punt.
fake punt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He just kind of
okay.
went crazy on that.
Nice.
But like, yeah, it's like he's super brilliant. Like he clearly is able to digest information quickly. They're also like I think they've adjusted the playbook to not like overwhelm him either in like a week's
Yeah,
notice.
true.
You know, but still, that's I mean, it's very difficult to play quarterback in the NFL. He's done it literally on 3 teams this season. So
Yeah,
like
I
I
can't
mean,
even
it's like a
say
tough situation.
I've never even done scout team quarterback when playing high school football. I can't
Never.
even
That
say
shit
what it's like.
sounds scary.
The closest to quarterback I've ever done was always neighborhood. I've only been neighborhood quarterback level. Nothing
The
ever.
closest I've done is fucking center.
Oh,
Like
you
that's
can
it.
say the closest is Madden. Straight up, that's literally the only time
You're
I'm
right. You're right,
quarterback.
bro. Oh man. Let's talk like oh yeah. So some of these surprising experience like so. Here's some surprising performances, and then we can get into some of these duds because
Let's
there's a
do it.
lot of them today. All right. Jalen Warren, Calvin Ridley. I want to talk about that one for sure. Singletary, Pollard. I threw him on the list. He honestly didn't deserve it, but he scored. Devito, that one was that says we got to talk about that game for sure. And Trevor Lawrence, we definitely got to talk about that. Like, which one of those like really popped out to you?
The one that really hit me is Trevor Lawrence, unfortunately, because I was playing against him. Of
Oh,
course, the Calvin Ridley stuff, all that stuff was early. Him doing
yep.
things that you're not used to him doing. His knee hurt, didn't look like it. You run for 2 touchdowns. So,
Hmm.
I saw, if my knee could hurt like that when I get older, I want a knee hurting just like his apparently hurt when he's able to go ahead and run for 2 touchdowns because that don't make no
Yeah.
damn sense to me. So he did well, obviously, as a indirect or direct result of him performing well was Calvin Ridley. So
Hmm.
they just played significantly better. When we did our ranks, we had
Yep.
literally dinged on Jacksonville because of how they came out of their bye week looking like garbage. And I guess, it took them 2 weeks to go ahead and put it together because they showed up on this week clearly. Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence looked like that boy come from Clemson. He showed everything that he
Yeah.
could really do.
Yep. And like it was so interesting because I feel like I've been so like I feel like I've been early so much this year and I just get burned by it and then I just kind of give up on it. Cuz I like last week was the week I was like, all right, the Jaguars passing offense is going to get themselves together because they have to. And that's why I was kind of saying like sell high on ETN because the touchdowns are just going to they're not going to go away, but like he's on a ridiculous touchdown pace. He's going
Oh
to
yeah.
probably end the year with like 11 touchdowns. He already has 8, so you got to see some slowdown of that, right? Like that's just not he's not a person who's going to go score 20 touchdowns in a season,
Ladanian.
you know?
uh-huh.
And the thing that I knew, I was like, man, and I don't want to watch my words with the Zay Jones stuff, but like based on the stuff happening with him,
uh-huh.
very surprised that he played. That was honestly something I was not expecting him to do. And I don't think his ownership percentage is like super low across the
Mm.
board. But the one thing I kept telling people was like if Zay Jones is on the field, like it's a direct correlation to Calvin Ridley's success. If Zay Jones is playing, Calvin Ridley, not that he's guaranteed to have a great day, but he is much more likely to have a good day with Zay Jones on the field than with Zay Jones off the field. And I don't know if it's like the way that they roll coverage, the way that maybe Zay Jones open things up, but he literally sucks terribly, terrible without Zay Jones on the field. He just cannot play. But I mean, like today, Zay Jones is on the field. Calvin Ridley went for 2 touchdowns. And I think also same thing for
Thank
Trevor
you.
Lawrence. It just opens his entire offense up where he can like get the ball to his main playmakers and not have like everyone just sitting on these short routes and things like that.
Okay. Okay. So that's probably so Zay Jones clearly wasn't there last week then.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah, yeah. This
makes
was
sense.
first week playing in a while. I feel like Zay Jones only played like 3 games so far.
He is an interesting name because I was looking him up a couple times in our leagues. I'm like, why is this a name that came up? But I don't. He ain't playing. What's wrong with this dude? So he's like
Hmm.
showed up on my radar like 3 times throughout the fantasy football season, but
Yeah.
he was never available like playing that week. I'm like,
Hmm.
no. So luckily
Yeah.
I wasn't too pressed to go ahead and have him. But I was like, you're always looking for talent, and I was like, Zay Jones? No, not really, not now.
Well, that's the thing. He's like actually a decent player. It's just like he's not completely unreliable, Zay Jones. Like you don't know what to do with him.
Exactly. And having that on the team, confusion might
Nope.
lead you into picking the wrong player to play when you actually have a day
Hmm.
like today.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
hate doing that.
I told, and I mean, because I feel our league is built for that because there's so many spots, so many opportunities. Like we have, so in our league, guys, we have two running backs, two receivers. It's a standard like quarterback. It's not like super flex. But we have three flex positions, and our
Yeah.
roster and our benches are like six people deep. It just has so much opportunity to make the wrong decision, like so much opportunity to just make the wrong thing happen. You know what I mean?
I like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of strategical ways you can go ahead and put a trade together. You have to prepare for your bye weeks, look ahead, using the IR appropriately. Like right now, I have
Hmm.
Fryermuth in there, but he's eligible to be taken out, so I had to make some adjustments with my team to make him playable. It's just that's why I like fantasy football. Like you can have a poor team coming out of a draft, but strategic moves using your fab allocations, making trades, the timing of acquiring players, when they're at the lowest point in the season as far as their value, when you know that they're more than likely to have a higher payoff later on. Will you take the risk early on to acquire that team from a player that doesn't believe in them like that? I really like fantasy football for that because when you make the judgments early in the season on who's going to do well, most of the time you're off base. And I like how the teams who are always considered to be like, you ain't even going to make the playoffs, that person is going to become champion.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Like no, you're gonna get like in our league. What did they say your record was gonna be?
I was going to be 10th. I was going to be 4-10.
Wow, I'd be happy to be 10th right now.
Yeah.
This league is a problem for me right now. Oh my god.
Injuries really worked in my favor. That's just one of the things. Like I gotta say, anybody who thinks that they're super good in fantasy football, you have to admit there is very much luck that goes into it.
Hmm.
Make it get swing full turkle, full circle to me. Let's take it back to injuries. Like this
Yeah,
is a ridiculous year for quarterback. If you play fantasy football and you play in a two quarterback league, and one of your two quarterbacks did not get hurt, do you understand how lucky you are given how many quarterbacks we lost so far in the
yeah.
season? It's
So I'm playing
incredible.
in a Superflex Dynasty. Lucky enough to have Hurt. I have Hurts. I
Mhm.
had Richardson. I was crushing with that.
Yeah.
Um, but then I got Stafford. And like the thing is like these all have been dinged up a little bit to the point where I've had to start Bryce Young, and that was awful. I had the and I actually started
Panthers.
Devito. I started Devito the one week he actually was like terrible, and the last two I feel like he's been like surprisingly decent.
Mhm.
You know,
The DeVito. Want to go there?
yeah, down.
It's a Giants and a Commanders game. Like anytime a game like that comes up, I was like, the way that the Commanders and Giants go, what you
Mm-hmm.
think, write that off. It's kind of like
Yep.
doing a multiple choice test. Whatever's
Mm-hmm.
the most likely response, whatever's the right answer or what should happen, you know for damn sure that ain't what gonna happen. So
Yeah.
that's what happens with all their games all the time. It's gonna be some four-letter word ish.
There's some bullshit happening. like,
Precisely.
cause like the thing is, and I that was the one thing, and I was mad at myself for picking the Commanders because all right, so everyone, I live in Ohio, right? But I grew up in Virginia, and I lived in DC, and like Eric and a lot of our friends, we live in like they live in DC, so very familiar with like the Washington stuff. My dad was a massive like Redskins slash Commanders fan, so I know the story, and I also know the Giants just play the Commanders tough. When there was like a 10-point spread on this game before, at some points during the week, like I don't care how bad the Giants are and how good the Commanders are, that will never happen. Like like no matter who's playing who, like Tommy DeVito went for 28 fantasy points today because the Giants play the Commanders tough. I don't know if Daniel Jones has lost within his last 6 games to the Commanders. Like he dominates them whenever he's on the field. Like the Giants are not afraid of this team down here. So no matter who's on that roster, they will fight you to the death and they will likely win the game. And I should have. I don't know why. I think I got in my head about how good the offense for the Commanders was last week, and I shouldn't have. I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know how often I need to be failed by this Commanders team.
Oh
You know
man.
what I mean?
Like you said, I'm out here, and there are a lot of people that are big time Commanders fans. Like, them colors run deep. I get it,
Hmm.
but that had to be them Doug Williams days that they still holding on to. Because in my lifetime, I just don't see it. I've been looking too, but
Yep.
I cannot find it. I'm just like, hey man, I'm good with the Panthers. Both of us ain't got nothing to talk about.
That's the fact, like, and that's the thing. Like, we both grew up there. There's no reason for real. The only thing with the Panthers is honestly it's kind of equidistant to where we grew up, so it's not even that bad. But
True.
like, there's no real reason we shouldn't be like diehard Commanders fans, but neither one of us are.
Yeah.
And like our parents, like, oh no, like my dad was always trying to make. It's like, bro, I'm not like no. You literally like my dad told me I cannot watch the games because of my heart. Like I don't know why I want to be in that
Oh
situation.
boy.
Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not. That seems like a touch and go situation because of the
Yeah.
disappointment. Like he's like they would always find a way to disappoint you in the most creative ways, and like that's continuing even past Snyder a little bit. Like I do think Eric, like I truly do believe it would make sense for them to let go of Ron Rivera right now. And I know I feel like I talk about firing coaches all the time, which is not good. But like it would really make sense if they let go of Ron Rivera because if this whole staff gets blown out, they are not keeping Eric Bieniemy. They're not gonna like, all right, we're
Mm.
gonna fire everyone else and keep Eric Bieniemy. Like, no, they're gonna fire everybody. So give Eric Bieniemy his shot that he's been dying for. Let him head coach for the next few weeks and just see how it goes. If you want to interview him, at least like he has a resume of head coaching that he can go off of now. And also, you're kind of doing him a solid too. Like give him some coaching experience, like they're doing with Pierce right now.
I think that makes a ton of sense. The best
Mm-hmm.
thing for this area for the Commanders is some level of consistency. They put a lot of blame on their ownership. They put a lot of blame on players. One of the number one most high notoriety Washington football occurrences that are in my mind is when Hainsworth had that play where he just laid on the ground. That is just the definition of funny to me. I can't
Yeah,
help
that's
but
just
laugh at that.
wow.
He just laid on the ground. Damn. But imagine the Commanders if they had some consistency at the coaching level with someone
Mm-hmm.
who's good, a la Mike Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
That is what this area needs. And I think Eric Bieniemy has the resume, obviously, and deserves the opportunity. And you can help each other. You have someone who you can believe in, you can sell the fans on, and everyone won't critique you so hard. You're a new ownership, and you can go ahead and say, hey, this is someone who tell me who you think should be better than this. Eric Bieniemy has done this, that, and the third. Why doesn't he deserve under new reigns, new leadership to bring us to a whole new ship and steer us on some new waters? That is exactly what this team should do. Let this be the last experiment to go ahead and get to know the team, go ahead and take some kind of gain from this current season, and make sure
Mm-hmm.
that he has full control and autonomy going into next season.
Yeah, because their season is not like their season's still not done. But it's one of those things where like I don't know where Ron Rivera is going to take you at 4-7 to like make a playoff push. Like you lost two in a row, you're 4-7. You just lost to the Giants. Like you're you're 1-4 at home, which is ridiculous. Like the season's not lost, but y'all got to start making some moves because all the other teams who are fighting for a wild card spot are like have much better records than you. And that's the thing. Like Eric Bieniemy, I was this offseason pushing that he got a head coaching job, but
Mhm.
it was honestly less about Eric Bieniemy and his skill set and more about like anyone who does the things he's done has a head coaching job. I kind of don't really even care if he's a good coach. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
other people, I don't even want to get into it, but other people who do the things he's done have have like the Super Bowl resume of two Super Bowl wins. I mean, we just saw two head coaches hired this season. One of them is my head coach for now for the Colts, which I love Shane Steichen. He lost in Super Bowl. John
Mhm.
Gannon lost in Super Bowl, got that ass whipped in the Super Bowl. From a defensive standpoint, he's a head coach for the Cardinals. Eric Bieniemy beat them. He literally beat Gannon directly, and he's
Damn.
still not a head coach. He had to make a lateral move. So to me, I think Eric Bieniemy should have just gotten a head coaching job just based on his qualifications. That being said, I honestly don't even think he'd be that great of a head coach. Real personally. I don't
Oh,
I actually don't believe he would. I think that his tactics are kind of old school. Like he like screams at players and he does those things and that's great when you're winning, but the second you start losing, that gets old real quick. You know what I mean?
that is a dynamic I cannot, put myself into because, of course, I always like to go back to my own experience. Of course, they could yell at us when we were high school kids. We don't really have anything. when you bring into the aspect of money and that these guys actually make more than you do, that always changes the dynamic. I mean, here in America, that's just almost a thesis project in and of itself. People behave very differently when those certain kind of things come into question. So interesting. Coaching,
Yeah, and
I
I
can't
think
say it's not easy.
it's not easy. I think Eric Bieniemy, like, and to me, it's like he deserves a head coaching spot. And if you're the Commanders, this is literally like, even if you have no intention on keeping this man, you're still doing him a very big solid. Because the one thing they keep saying about Eric Bieniemy is like, all right, he's not calling his own plays. He doesn't have all this experience. And I get it, he was not calling the plays. Andy Reid was calling the plays in Kansas City for the most part. But he's calling the plays now. His offense is not terrible. And you would actually be giving him, like they're doing with Pierce again, you're giving him the opportunity to head coach. So even if he doesn't do it with you, you've at least almost like you're being like a good ally, right? Like you're just like, hey man, you're not gonna head coach here, but you now got some more stuff on your resume that'll help you become a head coach in the future. Best of luck to you, my guy. You know what I mean? Like he's almost doing him a service.
And you say it because it's not like they have nothing to lose. So that's why it's being a good ally. My favorite saying, I might as well. You might as well.
Yeah, bro, you might as well. Because what the hell are we doing with Ron Rivera now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen somebody who just seems so disinterested in like the shit they're doing. Like, I just don't get it. Like, Ron Rivera to me, like you brought up Mike Tomlin, and I feel like Ron Rivera is Dollar Tree Mike Tomlin. Like, you feel like, oh, we're getting a good coach. When you look at his record, it's not that good. His record's never great. And it's like, you just like he has all the trappings of like that good coach on a legacy team, but he's not a good coach.
Yeah.
So it's like you're almost getting like Crack House Tomlin. And it's like, why? I just would rather go with a young coach, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
we know what we got here.
Yeah, like we know what this is. And one thing, I'm just ranting, but this is why we got a damn show. Like the name Riverboat Ron is so funny to me because everyone calls him Riverboat Ron because they said he takes risks. And people were like upset in DC that he wasn't taking risks. Apparently, that name Riverboat Ron was a facetious name that Carolina fans gave him because he never took any risks. So the second he started taking risks, they were like, oh, he's Riverboat Ron now. But it was like a joke. Do you know what I mean?
It's because he would always pretty much go for it on fourth downs. And we had a track record of doing relatively well. If I can remember best, it's because we had a big body quarterback. I mean, when you slam Cam in front of him, I mean, he's going to go ahead and fall forward for those 2 yards. So I think many times that worked in our favor. And I think if it wasn't Cam, these could have been the years where you had Christian McCaffrey. He's like the best running back in the league right now. So many times he had factors that worked in his favor for when he would go forward on fourth down and get it. But it's all about taking the right risk. And he clearly does not do that. So, it is what it is.
He has like really basic clock mismanagement, like just the things like you're supposed to do, like you even if you're not calling plays on defense anymore, offense, any of that, just the head coach stuff he just doesn't do well. And so I just feel like there's just not really I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's a guy who like he's probably gonna be perfectly fine just retiring. Let him be on his way. Give Eric Bieniemy the next couple games, just figure some stuff out, get some head coaching under his belt, maybe upset a couple teams and like make something happen for him, even if you're not going to keep him in your franchise. Because to me, even though I'd love for like Antonio Pierce to get the Raiders job, you're not indebted to him. You know what I mean? So, but you're at least giving Pierce experience. You're doing him a solid by now. Like this is like the Pierce story is exactly what happened with Dan Campbell. The Saints, he became the interim head coach. He really turned up and did very well. And like after that, the Saints did not hire him as a head coach. And he had to go for Detroit. But now we see what's happening with Detroit. He's in this great situation. You're not indebted to him, but you still did him a damn solid by giving him that interim job. And I think the same thing could happen with Eric Bieniemy, even if he doesn't stay in Washington.
Fantastic example.
Yeah, I'm just so good. I'm so good, Eric. All right, let's talk about some of these stinkers, though. All right, we got a lot today. Austin Ekeler, 7 points is awesome in PPR. Kenneth Walker. I think Derrick Henry, I don't know what he did. It didn't seem like he did anything. So I put him on the list. I need to check what his score was. Achane really sucked because he didn't play. Najee Harris. Najee Harris, actually, I think he outsnapped Warren. He just got owned by Jaylen Warren. It was a tough matchup, but don't tell Jaylen Warren that.
Yeah, Jaylen Warren with that long touchdown, and he went house that joint.
But that's the thing. It was not even just a long touchdown. He was still getting chunks too.
True.
You know, he was still chunking out big gains against an amazing run defense. And then who else? Scary Terry. That one was really disappointing to me. I knew he was going to ball out today. Prior to today, he had never had a game under 13 PPR points against the Giants, ever.
Yeah, him and the running back. I was going against the Brian guy. I was like, golly. They said he was due to have a good game. And I'm like, yep, of course he was right there up against me. Trevor Lawrence and him had to go up against both of those guys.
Yeah. B-Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robinson. Because Antonio Gibson was down. So a lot of people said, opportunity. It's going to come knocking.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I honestly, I was almost hoping that he had a better day because, the Giants were giving up 2 rushing touchdowns a game. And so I just was hoping he would get, more than one, But I don't even know if he scored. I just think he just had a lot of yards.
That goes back to Pollard. Everybody was anticipating Pollard was going to go crazy because our defense for running is supposed to be, the worst in the entire league. So,
yeah. That is overblown a little bit. The Panthers, I feel like that's almost an easy thing to say. Honestly, the yardage hasn't been that bad. I feel like they just give a lot of touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, I can agree.
They gave up one to him, too, so.
True, yeah.
Finally. Jesus. Tony, let's talk about Tony. He at least showed the burst today, which is good.
I heard the announcers even say that, the way he finished a run, where he finished with all the power there, was that's the way he looked like he was running last year. And I think it's clearly, like we said, these players are humans. He heard all that. He knew you better do something in this game, or it's look, if you tired of all that chirping, it's going to be absolutely squawking in your ear directly going out after this if you don't do something. So just know when he saw that goal line in his vision, he said it's going to take God himself to keep me from crossing that mud. I got to get over there.
Yeah. I mean, that's real because, the other thing that's probably speaking is his paycheck. He bet on himself this year. He's on a 1-year deal, bro. So he's on the I think he's on the franchise tag. But he was because it was Pollard, Jacobs, and Barkley, and he was I'm just cool with the franchise tag. He didn't fight it. He didn't do any holdout. He was I'm gonna just do this. Coming off the injury, I'm a bet on myself.
Oh, we talking about money. He better turn up. He about to. I need to try to get him off your team. Then, if money is your motivator, let me just say that's the one in my life. That's the one. Best returns I've ever seen.
And that's the thing. It's that's why I've honestly been kind of surprised at how bad he's played all season. I also think he's just he's not built to give you 20-something touches a game. And honestly, I thought, so full disclosure, I thought he was going to be the number 2 running back in fantasy behind CMC. That was awful prediction. But I thought that because I thought they were going to give him 20 total touches a game, which would include at least a couple passes and 17 or less carries a game. I don't think he's built to give you 20 to 25 carries a game. He's just not. And he truly would survive well in that complement role. So I honestly, even though Rico Dowdle, he was added to the injury report on Saturday, so I wasn't sure if he was even going to go. But I was hoping, honestly, Rico Dowdle's playing well. If he could come in and spell Tony Pollard, that is going to be the closest thing we probably saw to what he and Zeke had last year. And he may do better because he's been at the bare bottom of the league at explosive run rate, avoided tackles, things he was at the top of the league last year. He's been at the very bottom of them. And I felt having a compliment like that in Dowdle may be the best thing for him. And at least we saw a little bit more burst today. I don't want to get too hype, but it was at least encouraging.
I would have to say anybody going into this season who didn't anticipate Tony Pollard to have a good season, you're lying.
Yep.
Everyone thought that he would have a great season. Once Zeke left after what he put together last year, and you thought that he was going to have all of that backfield to himself. Come on. I saw him not performing that well. Stop.
This is wild, bro.
Yeah.
I saw him going from week 1 to week 11 not scoring a touchdown. Get out of here.
The money you could have made taking the under on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would have been stupid. It still would have been stupid.
mean,
your boy, this man loves to score a touchdown, boy. I tell you that. Oh my God, he scores all the time.
Oh, Courtney got in there?
Is that it? Yeah.
I hope he does.
And now they got a little lead now.
Oh, my John way behind.
He's like a tight end, basically. Like all he do is just score touchdowns only.
Did the whole game go by? Is he playing? Is he? Oh, there you go, touchdown!
Yeah, touchdown. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I mean that's a big. They up now. They up late too. So they're gonna probably go for 2, try to make it a 3-point game. There's 1 minute left. This is a good game, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it. I like that football product they got out there.
Oh, sorry. We got some people in here. We got another question. Let's see. So this week I traded away Kenneth Walker for Pollard.
Ooh.
And picked up Charbonnett.
Wow.
My man.
Set up.
Salute to you. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Russell Wilson's kind of playing like old school Russ right now. In this play, I haven't watched this whole thing.
But yeah, traded away Kenneth Walker. They got hurt. Got Pollard. We anticipate a big change for them. And you got Charbonnett. Which one's to your favorite?
I'm a quarrel with that, Eric. He's not lucky.
Oh,
he's not lucky. Like the Kenneth Walker thing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Eric, you want to talk about the amount of trades I sent out with Kenneth Paul? Like, I have Kenneth Walker on my team in this one league, guys, that we're all friends in. I was trying to get him off my team for 3 weeks. Like, I've been trying to get rid of Kenneth Walker so badly because I didn't foresee him getting injured. But the fact that Charbonnett for 3 weeks prior to today, and obviously today too because he got injured, 3 weeks straight was out snapping him. Yeah. And Kenneth Walker had that it was kind of random touchdown last week. I was like, all right, perfect. Get this dude the hell off my team now because I don't trust in him. He's been injured all year. I honestly I feel like deep down in my heart, I feel like I do think that like Charbonnett is a better running back. Like just on a down-to-down basis, I think that Charbonnett has like a better running back profile versus like only just being a big play guy like Kenneth Walker is.
It's the eye test. You can see that he just has a full body of work that complements the game of football. And when it's on the Seahawks team, and he runs the way he does, it's like, yeah, he just fits better. It's kind of like when you say a scheme fit and you're playing Madden, you really don't really know what that means. This is the utility of actually seeing how that applies. You see that Charbonnett in their scheme, he just works.
He does. Like he moves the chains. And that's the thing. So you got rid of Kenneth Walker for Pollard. That is literally, I think I did a video where I actually said, go get Pollard for Walker. Like that's a 1-for-1 that I love. Right there. I don't think Kenneth Walker's out for the season or anything, but I do think like you won in that situation, especially with Pollard, or especially with Charbonnett. I think Charbonnett, you also beat the waiver wire because this week I guarantee the number one pickup this week is going to be Zach Charbonnett because of everything we said. He got over 90% of the work when Kenneth Walker went out, and the way that Seahawks have been playing their running backs, I just knew DJ Dallas was going to factor in way more, and he didn't. He only got 11% of the work. Charbonnett got 92% of the snaps after Kenneth Walker went out the game. So, like, he was getting all the work on third down. He was getting the high-value touches, too. Like, Charbonnett is a massive, massive, massive winner from today's games.
And I can't even recall, but if he got all of that work, did he even look like he was tiring or he ran with the same power that he had when he first came in there to spell Kenneth Walker? And these are fresh legs. You know, he didn't start the season as that main guy, so he is a fantastic pickup. And that Seahawks running back consistently since that head coach has been there has produced.
Yep. Like that's the thing. His production was like, all right, it wasn't like amazing. But the thing is though, like the Rams are like a surprisingly good like run defense, at least like they like those run stop win rates and stuff like that. The Rams usually are like a higher ranked team this year. So I think it's a tough matchup, and also he has a tough matchup next week. So it's not like I don't expect him to go for like 100 yards and 2 touchdowts against the 49ers. It's not really about that. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a divisional game, so you never know. Like things that always happen. But you're not picking up Charbonnett for just like a 1 week start. You're picking up Charbonnett because if he shows well and if he even does something a little bit more against like the 49ers or just shows you a little bit more pop, there is a world where even if Kenneth Walker is healthy, he will now be complementing Zach Charbonnett versus the other way around.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good job, George. All right. Let's see. Where's my thing? I can't even find my rundown. Can you see it?
Yeah, I switched my tabs. We got
a lot of shit. A lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Sorry. Garrett Wilson, I mean, there's no need to talk about why he is bad because we know it's not his fault.
We kind of covered that
one. A lot of that. Old receivers did well. So Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. The people freaking about Devontae Adams, I'm glad we're seeing. I just kept I get it. Aiden O'Connell's not a great quarterback, but again, the one thing that I do believe in with the bag of quarterbacks is that you're gonna likely get them hyper crazy targeting their number ones like nuts, and that's what we've seen with him. He's getting force fed the ball, and he's still an amazing receiver. People freaked out about Devontae Adams, and I just was like, this is premature and stupid. That's another guy I was saying. I think the same post I was like, go get Bijan, go get Adams, sell Kenneth Walker. Get him off your team. That was one of the posts I had recently.
Yeah, Devontae Adams you should never have questioned him. He's already proven it before. I feel like he's already been a person where when he first went to the Raiders, people were questioning him. He proved you wrong then. They switched the quarterbacks. This new rookie, like you said, they do tend to target one person. And since he's been a squeaky wheel, he wants to please the number one player on his offense. So he basically has to give him the ball.
Yeah, he has to because he will say something.
Exactly. You just don't want to. Yeah, like you said, it goes back to the human aspect. If you're a rookie and a star player wants the ball, they were just being nice. You don't have a choice. That's just that's the aspect bro. Of it. Yeah,
that's facts.
That's just the real talk.
Hey, he's like, I told you, I'd like to get the ball. That I said that too nice. Give me the ball.
It's the same thing in basketball. You think Kobe? It's true when Kobe said, "Just give me the ball," because if he'd have been nice, it's the same thing. You have to do it. It's a luxury for you to be here. You're one of 14 people on this team of 15. You in an LA Lakers uniform. You're going to do what I say.
You lucky to be here. That's facts. I mean, you wouldn't be here if I had a feeling about it.
Precisely. It's just the reality of the situation, and we study that.
Take advantage of it. That's real. The Bears. We didn't really talk about them for real. So they came out there, man. The Bears.
Fields, man.
Yeah.
I still remember when our boy picked him in our league. I was like, I kind of wanted him to fall a little bit further. I was just being dumb. When I first got lucky, I should have took Fields. I was like, well, maybe he fell this far. He might fall again. He did not.
We had to jump on quarterbacks in our league, man. And he had over 100 yards rushing, and DJ Moore came back to life. The one thing, and I don't want to get too hype on this because, like I said, we were talking about it pre-show. The Detroit Lions defense was uniquely terrible the last few weeks against everyone, and so they were giving up 4 touchdowns a game, which no other team in the NFL was anywhere close to that. You can score on this defense. I actually picked the Bears to win, and I was looking good for 95% of the game.
True. And then, all those picks that Goff was throwing, because watching Red Zone, I was like, man, because even if you don't consider Goff a good quarterback, you don't anticipate Goff to be throwing picks like this.
Not at home,
Yeah, and it was in their dome and all that kind of stuff. I was like, damn, these are the Bears. This is Goff. What is happening right now? He's got his weapons. He's got Amon-Ra out there. He got Hawkinson out there. You got Gibbs, Montgomery, Jameson Williams. I think they got Donovan Peoples-Jones. Ain't even put him on work yet. You got options. And he was just throwing it to the Bears.
Yep, that's all he was doing. I don't know what the hell just happened here. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I'm just catching little pieces of this game as their last stride for a potential wrestling of victory from the jaws of defeat takes place here. Oh!
I don't know what that was. I don't know what they're calling that. This is great radio and show. But yeah, the Bears. I think that Justin Fields is back as a top 7 fantasy starter moving forward. I think DJ Moore, he's going to jump back into the top 20. I don't know if like top 15 yet, but he's in that mix again where you don't have to worry as much about him because he was playing like crazy good with Justin Fields back in the mix. And especially if their running back situation is just a little bit more nebulous, I think that's going to only benefit like a Fields and benefit him more. Like I was very confident in starting Justin Fields this week. I wasn't sure about DJ Moore as much. He was still a top 20 guy, but I wasn't putting him in my top 15 just because he had a thumb injury, so I wasn't sure if like the deep shots were going to be there for Justin Fields like they had been, or for DJ Moore like they had been prior, because if Fields can push the ball like that, I wasn't sure. But he still did a pretty good job, and DJ Moore is he is like a running back after the catch. Like he is his yards after the catch, he's like very aggressive with that, man.
He is very good. Like he's one of those players that if you had a dynasty league, I really would try to put him on my team because he gets a lot done with. He doesn't need too much. So even in games where he does have the opportunity where he's peppered a lot, you just know he knows what to do with it. You're not hoping for a good game if he gets the ball. He's one of those players where we just need to get him the ball. The more I see him play, the more peeved I am that we traded him away.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you want to keep coming back to that.
Yeah, I'm just like, how?
That trade was something, bro.
It's hard to come back to because it speaks to just that trade. It speaks to how well CJ Stroud has been playing. It's something we can go ahead and cover as well. But it's just he's playing so well. There's nothing else to say. Yes.
Today it was rough, but I mean they got the win. That's all that matters. I think did he throw 3 picks today?
I think he threw
2 at least. Okay.
Because I actually recently traded for CJ Stroud in the other league. I actually traded our Devontae Adams for CJ Stroud straight up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
In what league?
This is my cousin's league where they accused us of collusion. And I said, my man,
you told me that. Yeah.
If you think that was collusion, given that the other guy is my cousin, right? The audience, you know how it is with your family.
Yep.
He tried that BS with me. And I'm like, dog, if you could have seen what my cousin sent prior to just a straight up trade with Devontae and CJ Stroud, then you would have some say on whether there was collusion because he was trying the biggest BS. I have Jamar Chase as well as Alvin Kamara and James Cook. Let's just say with the trade he sent me, they would no longer have been on my team either. He wanted the entirety of my core, and he thought that the rest of the league wouldn't, I don't know, try to kill people in response to that. I was like, dog, that's not gonna fly. And I have to be an idiot to accept that trade.
Oh, speaking of trades, thank you. This was literally at the top of the showrunner, and we're getting to it at the end. But I really want to talk about trade etiquette. Okay. So I think it is important that when you're formulating trades, guys, to really consider the makeup of the league. We are in a league with like a lot of our friends from like college and stuff. And it's one of those leagues where start off with like a core group of friends. It expands, keeps expanding. So now there's like brothers-in-law and like other people in it. But it's all generally this like the core is still like a group of like 5 of us friends, like core friends, right? And I'm a little ashamed because this is a person that I brought in. But one of these guys offered one of the core group of friends. Wow. He offered, and this is after Friday. I think it was after Friday or after Thursday, one of the two. It was after we knew a lot about this quarterback situation. He offered Deontay Foreman, who that doesn't look good today, and Joe Burrow. I'm talking about after Friday, guys. Well, we know he's out for the season. For Christian McCaffrey. Now,
yes.
How did you describe that? Like, so the friend who received this trade, he's opinionated, to say the least. He's a very opinionated person. He's kind of been paying attention to the league, but not like as much maybe as you think. But he was very pissed off about this. Very, very, very upset about this. To the point where he's basically demanding that the guy who offered the trade gets kicked out of the league. It's causing a kind of a stir. I think it's going to be okay. We're going to probably talk him down from that, but like there's some drama. Like what do you think, Eric, about this situation?
I thought about it a little bit more, and I wasn't sure exactly when the trade was sent. That was the last thing I wanted to make sure I confirmed because I said just to go ahead and give him some slack. Maybe he sent the trade prior to finding the information. But I said that's unlikely. But it was also you send trades like that. I know people do that when they try to go ahead and get a response. You want to garner a response from somebody, a certain tactic that somebody can use. And I guess this is kind of more of an art than saying a science to trading, of course, is you want to go ahead and just get that person talking. Send them a trade that you probably know they're not going to accept. But it's like, okay, obviously you didn't want to take that trade. Would you entertain this, that, and the third? You just trying to get that person talking, you know?
That negotiation tactic is bullshit. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I get that. I get, like, I'm sending you Kenneth Walker and I'm asking you for Travis Etienne. You don't want to do that, but we could talk about something else. You can't send me a quarter in redraft, not in dynasty now. In a redraft league, Joe Burrow, who's out for the season by the time the trade was sent, and I have texts that confirmed that was known. Basically, Joe Burrow and Deontay Foreman for Christian McCaffrey. There's no, like, if that's
that
like,
one, I can't defend that one. That one just,
there's nothing to defend on that.
Yeah, that just is a null request. Because, like, I mean, I would have never entertained that one. But if it's something that you know that's feasible still, but you know that they just won't entertain it because this person probably, they want you to pay too much. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to at least start the conversation. Like this particular person, we also know that when people send trades and they don't like it, they just don't respond. Mm-hmm. So on the other side of trade etiquette is, if it's a reasonable trade and you don't like it, it is fair to just reject the trade. I mean,
that's facts.
So
that's facts.
Doing that kind of also garners a good response as far as people giving you a nice etiquette in return. So if you sit there and ignore all the trades, people might get annoyed and potentially will send trades like that just to go ahead and rub you the wrong way. So
that's a fair point. I'm not even gonna lie. That's a fair point because I will say I haven't received stupid trades like that because I respond and I counter my trades. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you do the same thing. You're not receiving, hey, take this guy who just tore his ACL for your best player. You're not receiving those trades either because we are going back and forth and countering. And honestly, in our league, people are super stubborn. They don't trade. Like, they don't trade. I honestly feel like anytime anyone makes a trade, they almost feel like it's helping the other person and they just don't do it. Yeah. Sometimes, but like but I mean, we're not getting stupid trades like that, like he got, I guess. I can see your point there.
I think people are scared to trade because it's like, after a trade happens and say things happen in a way where it goes against you. For instance, what if someone traded for Mark Andrews last week and now Mark Andrews is out for the season? People going to get in the group chat and be like, you stupid and all that stuff. I'm like, so who's the next tight end that's going to get hurt?
Yep.
How is that? Like, you don't know. It's like hindsight is 20/20. Mark Andrews, is he not a good tight end when he's healthy?
Yeah.
He's top 4. So that's why I tried to acquire him. But I think people you're afraid to take the risk. Like, I tried to acquire Achane before that game. I would look very stupid now had I given away what I was willing to give away to acquire that. So it's just willing to take those risks. I've made trades where it made me look like a genius, even though I didn't anticipate that kind of return. And I've made trades where I gave away my opportunity to win the season right then and there. Week 7, I had lost.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, that's how the trades go. I've made a couple here and there, but not too many. Like, I feel like to me, it's just been kind of a tough season. Honestly, not even just in our league, across leagues, I feel like people are just not entertaining it. And
our league, I haven't traded.
Coming up. Mm-hmm.
My cousin's league, I did make 2 trades. The trade I just talked about earlier for C.J. Stroud for Devontae Adams, but that's only to fill up the hole in that league I've had. Like I said earlier in our previous podcast, I've lost 4 quarterbacks in that league. I had Aaron Rodgers, Danny Dimes, Anthony Richardson, and Deshaun Watson. So I traded to fill up the hole with C.J. Stroud. And the season before, last year, I started with Trey Lance, and we all see what happened to him. So going into next year, whoever I pick, hey,
sorry,
be careful.
You got the Madden curse on your team.
I do. I told him, I said, if something happened to Stroud this week, I said, out of respect for the rest of the players, I can't participate in this league anymore. It's something crazy going on. Crazy.
He's just not picking up no players no more.
Yeah, I was
Oh
like, I feel
man.
like I'm putting these people like messing with their families. I can't do that.
Yeah. All right. Let's like wrap the show up real quick. The one thing I want to do is like see if you wanted to redo your top five based on any of the stuff we know. Now, and I also know like we're recording this on Sunday. Like two of the top teams are playing tomorrow in like a Super Bowl rematch. I get it, so it's hard to really pick. But if you had to redo your top five, would you?
Nah, like I said, so far the games that we've seen, they still justify the pick. Like the Ravens won their game and everything.
Hmm.
Who I had number one was the 49ers. 49ers looked great today.
Hmm.
I got Lions up there.
I think you had 49ers one. You had Ravens
Ravens
2,
2,
Eagles 3, Chiefs 4,
Chiefs.
Lions 5.
Yeah.
You cool with that?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and stick with that.
Okay. Who did I? I feel like we had the same five teams, just in a different order. I had Eagles 1, Chiefs 2. I can't really change that still. 49ers have bumped the Ravens to be number 3. I mean, honestly, depending on what happens tomorrow, I could argue for like if the Chiefs come out and look like just stale garbage again on offense, then
Mhm.
I probably am going to argue to move them down, move the 49ers up. But until then, I'm going to leave Eagles, Chiefs, 49ers, Ravens, Lions. The Lions one is the one that's like,
With
I
that
don't know.
defense.
Yeah, it's like I want to consider the Dolphins and I want to consider the Jaguars, but I can't do it yet. I mean, they're just winning their games, man. They even
Yeah.
like while today was like an ugly win against the Bears, and they were down by 12 very late. It does say something that you still won the game, you know. So I got to give them a little bit of credit for that too. So yeah, my
Well,
top five's staying the same too.
I'm starting to question myself. When do I say the Texans need to get some consideration?
Yeah, it's like I think it's just on the record point because I think they've had 4 losses so far.
I need to do some
Uh,
homework. I was speaking out of my ass. I don't know. But
no, because I'm looking. So Dolphins are 7-3, Chiefs are 7-2. Damn, Raiders are second in that division. That division is awful.
Mm.
Um, the Browns. I mean, the Browns are 7-3, which is something. Then the Ravens are 8-3. The Jaguars are 7-3. Texans 6-4.
Okay.
So, I feel like the Texans would make their way up there. Like if they pass the Jaguars, they'll probably end up in the top five, if not like at number 6. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I mean, I was watching Red Zone, but I gotta say, when I watch him play, man, I was like, the guy is impressive, man. You know, he's
Yes.
been doing it week to week. When you find the person that's open and you can get the ball to him, that's all we need you to do. And he does it pretty
That's it.
well. He does
Especially
it
that
pretty
tank.
well.
Tank is balling out, bro.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that was one of the fab purchases that worked out for me. I'm so glad I bit that bullet early and was like, this might turn into something. We'll just see.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Like, so 49ers are 7-3. So the Cowboys are another one of those teams.
Oh
Like, we
yeah.
got to consider they're 7-3 as well. Um, yeah, it's a lot of good teams. And the Lions are 8-2. Are the Jaguars? They're 7-3, I think. Yeah, they're 7-3. There's a lot of good teams this year. But I think we're good with the ones we picked so far in the top five.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, bro. We're going way
Oh.
long.
Yeah, have a lot to talk about. Cover those injuries and go ahead and
Yeah, man.
put two and two together. You know how like we like to chop and screw these things and look at it from different angles.
100%. 100%. But yeah, man. We're gonna probably keep talking, guys, but we're gonna cut off the show. All right, but it's been real. Make sure you guys hop on again next week, same time, 10 p.m. after the games. We could talk through what's happened on Monday night. We'll talk through what happened on Thursday night, Sunday games, all that stuff. If you ever have any questions, you can leave a comment in this video. It's gonna be officially posted after I turn off the stream, but I know there are already some comments in here now. We appreciate everyone for hopping in here. We're just two dudes talking football, you know, we have a general idea of what we want to talk about, but we literally are just, as you can tell, just jumping the topic. So whatever you guys want to see, let us know. We could probably integrate that into the show. And we really appreciate any of the people putting in comments that like want us to respond. We love that stuff, like the trade stuff, any feedback, even if you just want to like thump your chest on your team, we'll just hype you up, or we'll dump all over it too. Like either one. We'll do either one. But like we appreciate everyone who laid eyes on this thing. You really don't have to. We appreciate your time. All right, so I'm Toomey, Fantasy Football Strategist on TikTok, putting out a lot of content there. Ass and TDs, it's Eric.
You
He's
know
on
what
TikTok
I like
as well.
That's right.
You heard him. So we appreciate y'all hopping on here, man. Take care. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thank you for riding with us. Have a good one.